Hello, welcome back to the L1 show. Today is November 4th, and we're doing robot, space, and nonsense stories for you to share with your friends.
So many robots. Real and software robots. There was a subheading.
There was a subheading.
Yeah, I mean, real is not accurate there. I mean, a software robot is a real robot. Let's not make them lesser robots.
But you kind of did that with your subheading.
Well, you know.
You saying that spared our life 20 years in the future.
Human, we looked at your newscast.
Yeah, our robot lawyer is playing Exhibit A in
But
the humanity trial right now.
it just means we go back to the work camp.
Yeah, that's the mercy we're given.
And right now, it's kind of the opposite situation because we are putting the robots to work. Now, this is hilarious because as AI generated imagery exploded onto the scene and everybody loved it, one by one, all of the stock footage image selling companies were like, no, we don't want to get involved with that. But then as more and more momentum grew, they were like, oh,
Money.
that's a lot of money.
Shutterstock will start selling AI-generated stock imagery with help from OpenAI. I'm curious as to the whole copyright aspect. The article touches on that a little bit, but I don't know how this is going to work.
Well, they say that if your original art was used in the training data, then you will get reimbursed. We don't know how much or how that's going to work, but
So it won't happen.
wouldn't every image that you use in the data possibly be?
Yes.
There's a lot of case law, though, where an artist has come up with something, and then Disney has said, that looks amazing. And then Disney had their artists recreate that. There was something vaguely similar, but for the purposes of copyright law, Disney was not culpable when they were inspired by the artwork of the other artists to recreate their thing that was vaguely in the style of whatever.
Well, I think legally that's going to be the case here as well. Shutterstock's kind of doing it voluntarily, but I don't think they're going to be very comprehensive in their
No,
attempts.
there's
to
no
do
way
it.
they could be. And that's the thing that sucks for artists is like, you're going to spend years honing your craft and posting it online, and someone's just going to feed it into an AI and then have thousands of images like yours.
But based on what we know about how these images are generated, can we ever, it's kind of like a black box situation in most cases, can we ever prove that your image was or was not considered in the making of that image? If it was in the data set, then it
How would you know?
counts. Bumble, I guess Bumble is one of the big dating sites. I always see it mentioned in the dating sites thing, but I don't know exactly. Like, does it have a
Who's the niche for it? Yeah, I don't know.
engagement challenge? What kind of special dating site is Bumble? Is it for bees? Because we need more bees breeding, right? But they have a special kind of AI, which is hilarious because you would never think that you need this, right? But yeah, as a society, I guess we do.
Bumble has open sourced its AI that detects unsolicited eggplant pics.
Hot pollinators in your area.
I guess it could also be peach pics, but I bet not very many people complained about unsolicited peach pics.
I think that this is probably going to backfire on them, though, because if you're, you could build an adversarial AI, and then it's like, here's your tool for getting your pick past the thing. It becomes an arms race.
There's a banana sticker on it.
They're always nude from the waist down because they're wearing a special shirt
Oh,
that
yeah.
gets you through the filter. Can't show off your rock hard abs and your eggplant.
We should do one of those adversarial shirts that makes you invisible to the person recognition AI.
I like that idea. I don't know how we would do that.
Well, you have to do it in kind of like the opposite manner, right?
Yeah.
You'd have to have another AI looking at everything that's generated and then take the misses
Yeah.
and then feed those into a data set.
And then just set up a couple cameras with 3 or 4 different AIs and have them see if we can find one that doesn't work for all the common ones. That'd be a lot of fun.
Well, Mr. Eric Schmidt also he dabbles in AI. He likes to play around with it. He also is rich and powerful and is able to change government policy and certainly the business world.
How Google's former CEO Eric Schmidt helped write AI laws in Washington without publicly disclosing his investments in AI startups. I looked at this ready with torches and pitchforks ready, but really this just seemed like a billionaire giving a couple of projects like $20 to work on various different things. And I don't think that this was some nefarious scheme that he was plotting to get super rich on.
But he was plotting to dictate law.
Yeah.
As a former Google CEO, I have a big problem with that alone.
Yeah.
Forget what he was making money from it.
Yeah, I think that the influence, I agree with that, I think that his influencing policy is the bigger story here than he also had AI investments. Because let's face it, he's probably invested in literally anything that might make money.
He's got his fingers in every pie.
I mean, he's so wealthy that he could invest $1,000 in a million to one things and he wouldn't even care.
Every pie, including the one that used to run the FCC.
What if he's got a pie in our Patreon?
I'll take his money.
Yeah, I mean, if Eric Schmidt wants to invest in, okay.
I'll still call him an asshole, but I'll take his money. Well, it's interesting that we have been debating, culturally and in politics. It's like, well, should we come up with some treaties or some common rules about robots and weapons? Because that seems like a really terrible Pandora's box. And while we were talking about it, China just made it. China and Russia. And they're like, yep, we got them. It turns out there was one other country that was like, no, we already did that and we're going to keep it.
Israel deploys AI-powered robot guns that can track targets in the West Bank. The article makes it seem like they just track the targets, but it's still up to a human operator to pull the trigger.
Yeah, but
Does that make it any better? Yeah.
It's like, did you get the idea that it was like a sniper rifle that just steadies the rifle for you?
it's
Just a drone with a rifle duct taped to it.
There's another separation there in that you are not holding it. It's mounted. It's on a gimbal, and it's just, like, and also the way that they're using it is kind of like a little bit of a Uyghur feel to it because it's in the detainment camp for the Palestinians. Yeah. It's a little dystopian, or maybe like as dystopian as you can possibly get.
Yeah.
Maybe more like that. Now, we talked about the rental prices that were also being run by AI. And we said that seems weird. Someone should probably do something about that. Didn't take long.
Texas stood up. The headline is a company that makes rent setting software for apartments accused of collusion, lawsuit says. So this Texas Attorney General says you can't get together a bunch of landlords to look at the rents because that's basically collusion, which is explicitly illegal.
This is not, I mean, he may have done that, but this is just like individuals. So
Yeah.
I don't think the Attorney General is involved in this.
Oh, he's not? I thought that this
Maybe?
was.
I might have missed it. But
I might have misread that.
people are definitely suing them. And it's interesting because they say, oh, we see collusion here. But remember that story kind of spelled out the collusion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, RealPage literally describes something that could be described or that, could be interpreted as collusion. It's like a bunch of landlords can get together and figure out what to charge for rent. It's like, ooh.
There was one comment from that story where it was like, hey, one idiot with a low price can ruin an entire neighborhood. Help us stop that.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, bro, that's
Yeah.
collusion.
I loved the other comment in that other article too that was like, I would have never dreamed of raising the rent this much until I got together
Right.
with all these other landlords and we all did it together.
That's Exhibit A and B in the Texas
Yeah.
AG's lawsuit.
So that would be nice if we can get rid of that. We will also be getting rid of one other AI company as the economic collapse continues to destroy them because they were never profitable.
Ford and Volkswagen-backed Argo AI is shutting down. This is the self-driving thing. So this has been a theme the last few weeks. The AI delivery robots and, FedEx, Amazon, a bunch of others, all those projects are shutting down. Apple shut their project down forever ago. It was 2-3 weeks ago. There was another AI startup for self-driving that was shutting down. They were more in the commercial space. There's not money available to do these projects right now.
And it, oddly enough, even though it's like, oh no, we're already there. We already have fully self-driving cars. And yet every project that's trying to do fully self-driving cars keeps getting shut down because you can't really do that. It doesn't really exist.
Tesla faces U.S. criminal probe over self-driving claims, sources say. Full self-driving.
That's what they call it. They point out that even though Musk has been very adamant, it's like, we know it's not really fully self-driving. We just call it that, which is a problem in itself. They point out that there is advertising on the Tesla website about self-driving that says, it looks like this man is driving, but he's only doing that to be compliant. that a car is doing all the driving. What would that make you think if you were a consumer looking at that?
That the car is full self-driving?
It's not, though. Don't say
It
that.
isn't.
And there are some jobs, usually very menial jobs that we don't think about at all, like picking up eggs or folding things, that robots are terrible at.
The fastest ever laundry folding robot is here, and it's likely still slower than you.
That's a tough job considering how much I hate folding laundry.
I did make one of those cardboard things once for folding shirts, and it really is nice.
I guess they could use that, but the problem here is he doesn't just need to fold shirts.
Right.
He needs to be able to take a pile, separate it, identify it, and fold each one.
Fun times.
Wonder what it would do. Like, Krista, do you attempt to fold like all the like yoga pant, like the really stretchy girl clothing type of stuff?
Kind of, but not really. My husband complains a lot because he's like, your clothes are so small.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's like, I have no idea how to fold it. I'm like, well, don't worry about it. Just throw it in the drawer. I don't really care. But
Anytime I've ever been encountered with one of those like, you know, like really stretchy girl pieces, it's like, how do you do with it? Just wad it up in a ball. I thought.
yeah, pretty much for a lot of it. I mean, some stuff you hang, but yeah, for like yoga pants or like tank tops and stuff, I just kind of,
What's a robot going to do with that?
it's going to shred it. Is what it's going to do.
It's going to get jammed up in the gears.
Yeah.
Random crap like that ends up as a ball in a drawer.
And this one, I mean, the jokes make themselves, right? This is a hentai monster robot. Let's just go ahead and say it.
Demonetized.
The spooky robot uses inflatable tentacles to grab delicate items from popular science.
I don't like this image at all. It makes me feel very uncomfortable. That poor little plant. Little chicken and hens.
It's not going to destroy the plant, Krista. It's going to be there forever.
It's going to love it. Caress it.
Oof.
Take it to the demon dimension. So yeah, this is all done with inflating these tubes here.
Wacky wailing inflatable tube man.
It's the wacky
Yeah.
inflatable carrying robot. We can come up with a better version of that. We'll try to before the title time.
We'll forget, but
And this one, I think you mentioned this one week, Wendell. We didn't
I was like,
have
what
the
happened to
story,
it?
but it was on the 21st. We must just barely missed this. But actually, we did a story about the original one of these. This is a new company, and they've improved it. And this is now draggable by the tractor instead of standalone, which makes a lot more sense.
yeah.
This new farming robot uses lasers to kill 200,000 weeds per hour. Basically, you just drag this machine over your crop. It uses machine learning and AI to figure out what's supposed to be there and what's not, and murders it.
I'm kind of into that.
Do you think, is that running a generator to do that?
Probably. It looks like it's got some substantial cooling or something on the top.
That's cool, though. I mean, certainly our lives will be improved with fewer pesticides. I'm just thinking,
Yeah. That seems like a big improvement,
Like,
assuming
no.
there's no horrible side effects from the lasers. But
Don't correct me. It wouldn't be. It's not a pesticide if it's a weed, right? It's just a weed killer, I guess.
Yeah. But this same
herbicide, yeah.
the same technology probably could be used for pests as well.
Yeah.
Well, we
Imagine
already-
something that gets the squash bugs off of my squash.
Remember the one that tracked roaches
Yeah.
and shot them with a laser? Why not add that to it?
Yeah.
This is going to be great.
I like how, like from a human perspective, this is a great, beautiful thing. But from like an Earth perspective, this is a laser death
Machine.
like-
Yeah. If you're a squash bug, you got to be watching out.
Oh, that's true all the time, right?
Yeah.
Actually, from the Earth's perspective, it's probably also better to have the laser thing because it's less ecologically damaging.
Then herbicides. Yeah.
Yeah, think DDT and all the chemicals and everything like that. We're probably murdering ourselves without realizing it. The increase of brain cancer and liver failure is probably related.
I gotta think the Earth is looking at that and being like, "Hey, I got an idea what you can do with those lasers to improve things." And maybe the Chinese will take us there because you just have to strap a laser to this thing. Everything else is
We should
ready.
have put this with the Israel story.
Terrifying video shows Chinese robot attack dog with machine gun dropped by a drone. So we just fly these in, drop them off, and then this is like out of Terminator, except it's not Terminators, it's just little dogs.
Kill. I like that it's not painted the sunny yellow that typically those little robots are painted. It's painted like a dark color.
Well,
It's
urban
gritty.
camo, right?
It's the gritty reboot.
You don't want it to be visible in the war zone. That the drone that carries this thing was also pretty impressive. It's huge,
Yeah.
and able to carry all this weight. I mean, it's not stealthy at all, but
Also, you might hear that coming a mile away.
yeah. You hear the. They should make it howl.
Oh yeah.
That still costs more than a man pad, so maybe it's okay.
Yeah, or just a net. A net.
Or net, yeah. Net guns are coming back in vogue. Thump.
Although once you net it down, you're gonna have to get to it and
Disable
neutralize
it.
the dog, right?
Yeah.
Unless it's like the little robots from Portal where you just knock them over and then they're neutralized.
It might be like that. We only had one little space story this week, and I almost got rid of it just because, but it's worth talking about.
We have a
because
second one.
This,
There's two.
oh, do we?
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot
Yeah,
about
we got
that
two.
one. Of course, I had to put a black hole story.
Yeah.
in there.
The hunt for habitable planets may have just gotten far more narrow, new study finds.
So it turns out the Goldilocks planets we've looked at, we thought they'd have atmospheres. No atmospheres.
So you're telling me we should keep destroying this planet because there's backups, right? That's what that means?
That's the opposite of what it is.
So we
only-
should be worried about what we're doing to the planet.
Not only could we not ever have any hope of reaching these planets, but if we could, they probably would not sustain our lives.
Oh.
Are we going to have to adjust the Drake equation down?
What we're going to have to do is we're going to have to wobble like a black hole. That's a hot new dance. The
From
black hole
like
wobble.
15 years ago. Wobbling black hole, most extreme example ever detected.
Is it wobbling though, or is it just orbiting a tiny, a point rip in space?
Actually, two black holes encountering one another
Oh.
and having a very spicy dance. But the most spicy ever that we've ever encountered. We've seen them vomiting, and now we see them like dancing and
They're just getting wild out there in the universe.
maybe they're having a big New Year party.
What are they celebrating that we don't know? Stay tuned to find out.
Our nuclear destruction,
Yeah.
because with time dilation, they've already seen it.
Ooh.
Yeah. They're like, finally, we're rid of those.
But it's still like thousands of years in the future for us. We just don't know it.
It really seems like someday we're going to encounter something like this in our observations, and it is going to be inescapable that an alien civilization did this. Like there's half a Dyson sphere around a star, and it's like the only explanation is an alien civilization did this. It's like, an alien civilization put two black holes together, and the chances of this occurring naturally is a trillion to one. Ergo, and then you think about the civilization that had the capability to do that, and it's just like, oh, we're so insignificant.
Imagine all that scrap we'll be able to get from that half a Dyson sphere.
You think there's coal on the half a Dyson sphere?
Oil.
Now, this is interesting. Of course, correlation is not causation, and they don't pretend that it is in this study, but just think back to all the studies that have said the exact opposite of this since the
Beginning of time.
85 when they started really hammering this.
Kids who play video games score higher on brain function tests. A new study can't say if video games caused any improvements in brain functions, but added more data showing that kids who play video games have brains that behave differently.
Where do you find the control group for this? What kids aren't playing video games these days?
The Amish children.
I would think the Amish would test high.
What? Well, I was gonna say my nieces and nephews don't really play. Like they don't have phones or anything like that, but they have played a video game before.
Really? They don't play any video games.
No, not really.
Aunt Krista doesn't fly in with some consoles just to be the hero, or do they not allow that?
As if anyone can get a console around a holiday.
I've told you before, if you want to be the greatest aunt ever, you get them a Raspberry Pi with
Uh,
all the ROMs
I mean,
on it.
they've been exposed to it because their dad plays video games, but like they don't really play.
Weird. Are they
Yeah.
just on TikTok all day long, or
No, they don't have phones or anything like that. They read books. They go to the library.
who are these people?
They go to the park. Yeah.
Well, are these children more or less susceptible to mosquito attack based on their video gaming preferences? Have you studied that?
No.
I think the time is now.
Chemical attraction. Some people are more really are mosquito magnets, study finds.
My husband sent me this story because every time we go out on the porch and hang out, he'll be fine if I'm out there because they all attack me. I'm a mosquito magnet.
So it's interesting. It's not just because before we thought it was like the gases and stuff.
Yeah, carbon, whatever,
They took
dioxide.
like stretchy sleeves or whatever and had people just wear them all day and then took them off. And then they baited the mosquitoes with the cloth, not the person.
Yeah.
And they found the exact same results. There was one scent that just drove them wild.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It was like the pumpkin spice for mosquitoes.
Anecdotally, I find this is true. I find it's true with ticks as well. So like I had a friend growing up, we'd go in the woods and I would be fine. I wouldn't get a single tick on me, but she'd be covered.
So wait, so you can like, it's not the same meter, right? Like you're high mosquito, low tick? Is
Yeah.
that-
Yeah, that was growing up, that was the case.
That'd be funny if you could go get tested.
Yeah.
Yeah, historically, yeah, ticks are bad.
Yeah.
Well, the Pope has a Twitter account. And here's a news flash. It's not him. It's not actually him tweeting. And whoever was tweeting did a very stupid thing. They liked a young lady who enjoyed posting some nudes. And that created a bit of a controversy.
A vice so many have. Pope admits nuns and priests are not immune to porn. This is not the first time that's happened either. Like the Pope account liked some, stuff. This is probably like 2 or 3 years ago. This is more recent.
I feel like I see this a lot, like with even non-religious, just any sort of public figure, they accidentally like this kind of stuff.
Oops, accidentally logged into the Pope's Twitter. My bad.
Whoops, yeah.
That might be the same story because he was just mentioning it. I don't know if a new event happened.
Oh.
But the girl, the thought who originally did that, had the greatest comment. She was like, I guess I'm going to heaven. But yeah, he's saying that, okay, maybe that does happen. It's funny, he didn't mention the other thing that the priests do
Yeah.
that we don't like.
They're not immune to really egregious bad things.
That didn't come up. Not only not immune, but seems like a predilection for it. Well, we've had, have we had a Kanye West story every week of October?
We have.
I
He's
think we
losing
have.
it. He is unhinged at this point.
He's to be known as the artist formerly known as Kanye West.
He is trending. He'll always be Kanye to me. I can't tell you how many times I've tried to come up with a "We Barely Knew Ye" title.
Oh,
It
yeah.
never really fits.
Ah, ye of little faith.
Anyway, we'll just do a quick roundup. He's been canceled from everything, including all of his endorsements, all of his clothing brands, and
After he
importantly,
bragged that they'll never cancel me.
And Adidas. Adidas dropped him.
Yeah.
Adidas
that
was the big one, which is what led to this.
Ye escorted out of Skechers' office in Los Angeles after he showed up unannounced. Turns out there's the family that owns Skechers is Jewish.
They're like, yeah, we don't want that stink on us, thanks. Why don't you go be washed up somewhere else?
Doesn't that man have kids and a family he could be taking care of right now?
Do you think he spends any time with his kids? We also, I don't know if you guys noticed, but we got brigaded pretty hard on the Kanye episode this past week.
That would not surprise me.
They blasted us for being liberals, which is hilarious.
What?
I mean, we often get blasted in both directions because you're not allowed to be
Either one.
In the middle, yeah.
Well, not even in the middle, but it's like,
You're not allowed to be reasonable.
just call BS wherever you see it. You
Yeah.
can't do that. You can't do that because you have to follow one narrative or the other. You can't live in the middle. I always get that. I love that.
Yeah,
I
I
hate it.
didn't read the comments on the Kanye episode. I'm sure that they were a cesspool.
We're against stupid.
I might have to moderate that.
And you think Kanye, maybe in all of his despair, he might smoke a little weed.
Only in California where it's permitted.
But there's one brand that he should stay away from because it's some weak garbage.
And this is on CNN Money. I just want to point that out. This is on CNN Money. CNN Money. How is that?
That's CBS Money Watch, but I get
Or
your
CBS
point.
Money. Marijuana company sued for not making customers high enough. This is in California, of course.
Imagine if you could do that with alcohol.
Well, but on alcohol, you do have to
The percentage, yeah.
The alcohol per, what is it called?
Uh,
Percentage. It's a something. Anyway,
Yeah.
You're not allowed to misrepresent that because people could go blind and die. Now with weed, you don't have to worry about that. But they were saying 47%. I think the theoretical limit is like 30. So they were lying and somebody tested. This is hilarious.
There's a really good video on this
I
article.
mean, just imagine, what do you do in this situation?
Yeah.
How do you, I guess, could you break those down and bag them somehow? It seems like that would be so difficult.
is it CGP Grey has a video on this?
I don't know.
We still can't walk anywhere. Couple describes being stuck at home due to tumbleweeds. It's an invasive species, it turns out. So just
Oops, all tumbleweed. Oh no, you gotta
Oh,
hit play on it so you can see all of it.
Let's mute it real quick. Oh no.
It's just-
So much.
this is like a RimWorld event where it's
Yeah.
like a really minor one. Instead of blight, you just get tumbleweeds.
There's a car back there in some of that.
Wow. That is a horrible fire risk.
Oh my god.
You throw a cigarette in that and you don't have a house anymore.
or the sun reflects off of the window the wrong way.
Yeah.
If you put that into a wood chipper or something, is that worth anything?
That'd be good as mulch for like your garden.
Well,
But again, you need to water it down so it decomposes. And it looks like it's pretty dry there, wherever they are.
That is horrifying.
F's in the chat for those poor people. It's an older couple. You saw the woman there. So I don't
Yeah.
think they have the physical ability to keep combating that necessarily.
Yeah.
This is just, like as we go into the economic collapse, society is also collapsing around us. It's important to remember that.
6 days after getting out of prison for punching a woman and kicking a Chicago cop in the groin, he allegedly punched another woman and kicked another Chicago cop in the groin. The alternative headline is, have free room and board with this one weird hack.
And the best part of this article, and it's the very last line. What do you do when somebody just keeps offending?
The judge then ordered them to pay $12,000 to go home and get electronic monitoring.
They let them back out.
So he can punch another woman and then kick a cop.
It seems like they're encouraging it at this point. Why wouldn't he? And here's a sad story. Once again, correlation is not causation. I think at 94 with this kind of lifestyle, could have been anything.
World's dirtiest man dies at 94, months after his first wash.
Hadn't he not bathed for like 40 years?
It'd have been an insane amount of time.
Yeah.
What do you?
This was trending all over the internet.
What did that man's asshole look like?
So one thing I saw was that he didn't bathe with water, but he did like ash baths and smoke, which like he probably still didn't smell great, but his skin may have been so dry he probably wasn't that sweaty.
He probably smelled the same as somebody who like just chain smokes in their car all day.
Yeah, maybe it's that kind of scent, but not like BO.
The best story or the best like anecdote from here is that some activists had been pressuring him to wash, and they actually did wash him, like I said in the headline. But before the first wash, they had like bullied him into a car, and they were taking him to the river. He dove out of a moving car to avoid it. He was serious.
He was in good shape for 94 then.
Imagine not swimming even for like 40 years.
Yeah, how many American 94-year-olds could do that?
Not many. Very few. Maybe just the mall walkers.
Maybe Bill Shatner. And this is a little dated. I don't actually know enough about sports to know whether they accomplished this or not. But I do know that Philadelphia loses their minds. Now, to be fair, our little city next door, they'll burn a car or a couch as well.
Yeah,
But Philadelphia,
frequently.
they really take it to the most extreme.
City officials grease light poles ahead of possible Phillies celebrations. Why? Well, you shouldn't climb
Sport
a light
ball.
pole.
Because they will climb them, and if enough people climb them, they will collapse.
Do they also nail a $50 bill to the top of each one as your reward if you make it up there?
He's referencing the Squirrel Festival. You guys don't know about the Squirrel Festival. I was disappointed in this. How do you, as a serious Weird Al fan, how do you feel about this one?
I think it's probably okay.
All right.
Weird Al, the Al Yankovic story involved absolutely no research on Al's actual life, director says.
Why do shows and stuff like this keep doing this?
But he was for this.
Yeah.
He was part of it. He wanted to do a parody of a biopic instead of an
Oh,
actual.
well, that makes more sense then.
Because like, it's a meta joke, right?
Yeah.
I think the joke is you don't have to go through terrible drug and withdrawal and whatever to do something artistic and creative.
But he did have
Which
that.
is a message we should hear more often because a lot of people attribute
Yeah.
genius to suffering, and that's not always the case.
But he had the tragedy with his family, although he was already established at that point, right?
Yeah. No, yeah.
I don't know. I'm not hyped for it anymore. I wasn't super hyped for it, but now I'm probably just going to pass on it. I don't know. I'll get Wendell's review.
It'll probably be funny. And I'm thinking about like UHF. The humor in UHF, there's just layers and layers and layers of jokes.
Now this one, we harken back to last week when we talked about the camera on the guy's property. And it was like, God, how can they get away with that?
There were people in the candidate in Eagle County Sheriff's race taken into custody for outstanding traffic tickets following the debate. In the debate, the other candidate brought it up and said, "Well, I don't have any outstanding warrants." And it's like the level of corruption here is insane.
Yeah.
And also, there were people in our comments that were like, "No, law enforcement can place stuff on your property, not without a warrant. They can't," which they didn't have.
I've seen a lot of YouTube videos where, you know, like the like audit people, the what do you call them? The people, sovereign citizens, that type of thing, where if you piss them off, what they'll do is they'll wait for you to get traffic tickets and they'll make sure you get them. And then they'll serve that warrant at like 4 a.m. And claim that you resisted. And that's what went on here. This guy really put the screws to this other candidate who was the incumbent sheriff. And right afterwards, locked him right up for unpaid traffic tickets. Now, to be fair, he might be trying to fight those under sovereign citizen status, which is a very dumb thing to do. I mean, I'm not saying that like that can't be real. Maybe it is. It doesn't matter.
The timing of this makes it very suspicious.
Yeah.
Would you try sovereign citizen arguments against the Bloods or the Crips? Because that's what you're doing. You're going up against a criminal gang. Remember that when you deal with them. Being right, being lawful doesn't matter.
Didn't we know someone a while back who had a ton of unpaid tickets?
Well, yeah.
What did they do to him? What happened to him?
Nothing.
Nothing. They shame you, put your name in the paper, but they don't arrest you for that kind of stuff.
Because it's a waste of taxpayer money.
But if they pull you over and they want to get inside your car, that's when they'll use that. We get some of these pretty regularly, but this one is so hilarious because once you look at the video, let's prematurely mute this site. It doesn't look at all like what they claim.
DNR, it says the quote-unquote mountain lion sighting in Des Moines was really just a house cat. What's funny is they confirmed it was a mountain lion, and then they found the quote-unquote mountain lion, and it was... No,
How do you look at that and think,
it's a house
yeah,
cat.
It's not even that big a cat.
no, that's like cricket size.
We have a lot of cat-related stories. I put them all at the end here because they're all great.
Larry the cat outlasts 4th UK Prime Minister.
Look at him, he's a handsome boy. I need a bow tie like that
His
for mine.
fat little cheeks. So he lives there in the number 10. Is that where they?
10 Downing Street, right?
And yeah, turns out there's a lot of turnover there. You think Liz ever petted him?
I would hope so.
Maybe he didn't give his approval to her.
But in Italy, it's not just the cat who lives in the government building. This man is the mayor.
Feline looks dignified as she is...
she.
Or, wait, what?
I said man, it's a she.
Is sworn in as mayor of Italian town.
We do this in the U.S. too. There's a little town in California called Idlewild that has a golden retriever mare.
Now, she is actually only mayor of the cats and other pets. Yeah. And she will not be... now, she does belong to the actual mayors. Yeah, the mayor who just got elected, this is that person's cat. But...
That seems like collusion.
Yeah, they said that, but they're like, no, actually, this town's been in love with this cat for some time. And she is going to have a term limit. And then other people can submit their pets to be mayor.
Okay.
Also, her name is Meow, but it's M-I-A-O. How elegant.
Nice.
This one, this is just like, this is the greatest dog I've ever seen.
You've met Rue.
With apologies to Rue. Rue can't do this.
The dog that walks like a human and other precious pets. We didn't teach him that. It was his idea.
Look at him go. He thinks he's people. Oh, paywall.
Paywall, the Guardian. You got to watch the video. Because, like, this is not
I
just...
like that he's got the little hat on. That really makes it.
It's not just a couple of frames of him. He does this all day long. Now, it turns out he has to. He was in a car accident. And you can, like, you see that leg, the other leg is gone.
Yeah.
And I don't think this one is all that functional.
Yeah, it looks like it's a little short.
So, yeah, he just goes, and they so like just going down the street walking him. And he's just strolling around. You think that's hard on his little back legs?
Probably eventually, yeah, it'll hurt his joints, but
he was just like walking through the house, man. That's so good. That's so great. How sad are you going to be when that dog dies? Tragic.
He was one of a kind. It's like you could clone him, but it wouldn't do any good.
Yeah,
You'd have to take his legs off again, which is
Clone him
kind of
and-
dark.
clone him, keep throwing him into traffic.
No.
And here this is the Comedy Wildlife Photography Awards. Let's just go through them. I love to end up on hilarious animal stuff.
This is a solid one.
They say he's farting. I think it's just dust that he was kicking up. But
Maybe he had some really pungent.
What does zebras eat? You don't know. That's why you didn't finish that sentence, right?
It looks like
Grass?
he's tripping over something.
It's a common theme here. Talk to the flipper.
Oh,
Oh.
aren't emperor penguins like they're afraid they're gonna die because of climate change? It's a sad note.
One thing that I found really annoying with the CNN travel website is every time you click or do anything, it creates a new navigation event. So when you click to go back, it just takes you back to the previous thing, not back to the thing you were doing before you went to CNN travel. So
Oh yeah, I
what
also
a
dislike
dark pattern in your site design, CNN travel.
I'll call this one the Biden.
that. That looks like they're about to drop a rap album. Oh, that one's good too. You got to use that one in like a comment section. Everybody, shut up!
Oh, you think that's? I would think that would be surprise. You think it's anger?
I think it's like, yeah, like everyone's arguing in the comments, and that's the image you use. Everybody, shut up! Stop yelling!
What even is that?
My cats do stuff like this all the time.
Oh,
They're just
yeah.
clumsy.
Cricket
Oh.
tries to like walk it off too, like, oh, I didn't do that.
Crouton, he immediately starts just like cleaning himself.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I didn't do that.
You didn't see anything.
I meant to do that.
Oh, little black bear.
Does he have a fish in his mouth?
Yeah, a fish or a steak or something.
That's a squirrel in the rain.
That's a cool photo.
Yeah,
That's not
great.
funny. It's
These
cool.
photos are so good. Those are wallabies, and one of them actually is throwing the other one, apparently.
Kangaroos are super mean, I've heard recently. Something I learned. Aw. The vultures.
You in the wrong neighborhood. Do they? I guess they always walk around like that with their arms out. God, they're ugly.
Yeah, they are. We've got turkey vultures around here that look like that.
That'd be a good poster. That'd be a good motivational poster. Keep on smiling.
Aw.
Owls always look kind of disappointed in you.
They really do. They also have those really long legs, like
Oh, right.
but it's all buried
'Cause
underneath
you never
them.
see,
Yeah.
and they're all like hunched over.
Yeah.
And bent up.
But if you
Weird.
lift all that up, you can see their long legs.
But they're adorable.
That one almost looks AI generated. It's like, give me some owls in an owl hole. And it
How
just,
how long until we can't trust the wildlife photos?
Probably
Soon.
next year. Yeah. Next year, this contest will be fake.
very soon.
Make a calendar note. Next year we'll have to try to pour over
Find
the
it again.
results.
Yeah.
Next Halloween. All right, that's all we got.
We will see you guys next week. Bye.